Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome. I'm Laura Wink, your worship associate for this morning, and the service today will be led by our minister, the Reverend Cindy Terlazzo. Thank you to everyone on this morning's worship team, including music by Bill Mills and religious education for children 3 and over by Nancy Reed and Kaya Mills. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway. And whether it's your first visit or your 1000th, we are glad that you came. This service is also being live streamed. Is that true?
It is.
Woo woo! To our YouTube channel. Thanks, Jeff, for fixing the internet. We will plan on continuing with hybrid worship services, so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. To help us connect with our friends watching from home, please turn around and give a wave to the camera. And at the end of the service, we'll invite our friends on Zoom to turn on their cameras and wave back. We have several announcements today. To help make the most of our time together, event details can be found on the printed announcements in the back of the room or in the weekly email. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, please fill out the card on or near your chair. We invite you to bring them forward and place them in that basket after Bill rings the chimes and begins to play. You can also come forward and drop a pebble in the water if you have a joy or sorrow that you prefer not to share. Our internet is back after updates to our wiring and modem, but because of the outage last week, we were unable to live stream to YouTube. We did record the service for November 30th, and it's now posted in 2 parts under the videos section of our channel. Because we were unsure when the internet would be up and running, the new ministry startup meeting scheduled for today was canceled and will be rescheduled next year. In substitution for that, we are going to finish up the bean soup project this afternoon, or this right after service. If you can stay and help us redo some beans, that would be great. Shopping is open for the holiday in the handmade holiday sale. Come visit the tables following the service and give your dollars to our Jeffs, not the Bezos. Check the announcements printed in the back and the weekly email for additional opportunities to gather this month, including virtual Vespers service at 7 on Tuesday, December 9th and Thursday, December 18th, as well as an in-person Christmas Eve service here at church at 4 o'clock on December 24th. I have another announcement that we don't have written, which is we're still doing our fabric drive for the comforter making that's going to happen on December 19th. We are cutting up squares for comforters. We're going to be donating those squares to the Farmington Friends Church. They create comforters that they send off with the Mennonite Comforter Project every year. So please bring in your fabric, and it's got to be at least 7 by 7 inches. We will have a choir that's to sing at the solstice service on Sunday the 21st and the Christmas Eve service. A potential member does not have to be available for both of those services. Either one or both is fine. We will meet to rehearse at 9:15 a.m. the next 2 Sundays, December 14th and the 21st at 9:15. Everyone is invited to join the choir. No experience necessary. Contact Bill with questions. Our next justice table is scheduled for Friday, December 19th from 6 to 8. If you're able, oops, I didn't even see this. Please bring a dish to pass and fabric to make the quilt squares. Okay, are there any other announcements? Yes, there are. Carrie's got some.
Thanks to everybody who has signed up to be designated closers for the last couple of months. It's working a lot better, and you probably noticed the church is a fair bit cleaner, so it seems like it's going all right. And it's also safer because things are getting locked up and turned off appropriately. But we have an opening that we need somebody to sign up as a designated closer for December 21st. So that's in 2 weeks, and there's nobody on the schedule for that. And then we're going to need sign-ups for that designated closer for January, February, and March, and I'll put that schedule up next week. So if you can start putting your name in there. Basically, there's a checklist of all the things to make sure get done at the church, including cleaning and safety stuff before you leave, and then you're the last one out after church services. One of the things that we've run into with the designated closer thing is that one of the things you're supposed to do is to take a look in the fridge and clean out anything that's old, but there's all kinds of things that are open in there, but nobody has any idea how long they've been open, whether they're okay or not okay. So I'm going to go through the fridge. I'm the designated closer today, and I'm going to go through the fridge. I'm going to toss anything that is like remotely suspect, right? Which will be most of what's in there, because we really have no idea. And then, for me going forward, if you open something that then goes into the fridge, put the date on it. So then we have some idea how old this thing is. And if in doubt, and you're the designated closer, please just toss it, right? It's not worth somebody getting sick over. Okay, so the vacuum also is sucking, or rather it's not sucking very well. So Terrell's gonna take a look at it and see if it just needs cleaned out today. If that is not what is wrong with the vacuum, I was trying to use it the other day and it was like, are you kidding me? This has got nothing. So even when you've got the wheel going, it's just kind of pathetic. So hopefully that will be fixed, but I'll give an update next week about whether we just need to replace that vacuum or not. And I think that is it. Thank you.
Any other announcements? As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and devices. We now enter a space of worship. Now is the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows or drop a pebble.
May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be empty, receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. And open to receive. And open to receive.
Now is the time for our chalice lighting, but I don't think we have a volunteer. And you want to bring Lova up? Yes, yeah. All right. Please join us in our chalice lighting words. We gather in this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, shine of our quest through truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Well, good morning. With the arrival of winter's low, dark sky, communities around the world look to the miracle of light as a sign of rebirth and a source of hope. Let us use this season to celebrate the promise of new life and to recommit ourselves to the protection of everyone's right to their own radiant humanity. As we enter into worship this morning, may we welcome the fertile possibilities that reside in these darker days, and may we all be open to receive the light.
opening hymn is on the paper near you. You should be able to find one. There should be one for everyone. It's called Honor the Dark. It sings, honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark.
Uncertainty and change,
Deliver us from fear until only love remains. If the piano sings it, it sounds like this. Here we go, all together. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Half of the congregation that's sitting closest to the lit up Christmas trees over there, you should sing, and we'll listen. Ready? Here they go. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to you by day and by night. Honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Oh, that's very nice. Now you get to listen, and we'll sing on this side. Ready? Here we go. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. So we're ready for a big finish. All together, here we go. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Deliver us from fear
until only love remains. Yeah. So the story today is by Sherry Pillabong, and it's called Who Loves the Dark? There was once a child who got lost in the woods at night. As night began to descend, the child became more and more frightened. And I'm sure that any of us would be frightened too in that situation. But what made this child even more frightened was that he had always been afraid of the dark. He was more afraid of the dark than any of his friends or his siblings. He didn't know why he was more afraid than his friends or siblings. He only knew that when the sun went down, he was always very glad to be inside his lit house. When the sun was all the way down and the only light was just a tiny bit of light from the moon and the stars, the child got so frightened, all he could do was sit down and cry. Soon, he heard a voice that said, "What's all that racket?" He looked down and he saw a mole squinting up at him, so he obviously was outside. "I'm lost in the woods," he said, "and it's dark and I am afraid." "Well," said the mole, "perhaps you could take your noisy crying further down the path. I hate having to come out of my warm and comfortable dark hole to tell people to be quiet." Then the child heard another voice. "Go back into your hole, Mr. Mole. I'll take care of this." The child looked up in the direction that this newer voice seemed to come from. and in the darkness he could see two glowing eyes looking down at him. Before he could scream, which was his first impulse, there was a flutter of wings, and the creature flew down near him, and he could see that it was an owl. The owl said, "Please excuse Mr. Mole. He hates to come out of his nice dark hole for anything, to be honest." At this, the child burst out crying even harder than before, because as frightened as he was of the dark, having non-human animals speak to him was beyond his experience and a little frightening in itself. "No need for that crying," said the owl. "If you just give me your address, I can guide you home." With that, the child did indeed stop crying, partly out of relief that someone might be able to lead him home, and partly out of curiosity as to how an owl could locate his home with or without his address. But deciding that he had little to lose, the child choked back his tears and replied that he would be very grateful to be guided home, and he gave the owl his address. And I hope that everyone here has his or her home address memorized in case an owl ever has to guide you home. So the strange pair headed off through the dark night in what the child hoped was truly the direction of his home. When his fear left him just a little bit, the child looked around, and though the moonlight was dim, he began to notice his surroundings a bit. At one point, he noticed a kind of flower that he had never seen before, and he slowed his pace just a little so he could gaze at it. "That," said the owl, as they continued walking, "was an evening primrose. Did you know that there are some flowers that bloom only at night? There are moonflowers and night gladiolas too, flowers you would never see if you never went out at night." After a while, the owl said, as if musing aloud to herself, "And of course, there are animals too who love night and the darkness. Me, for example, I love the dark. In the daytime, the light hurts my eyes, so that's why I like to go into my tree and sleep during the day." To this, the boy replied, "Well, I like the daytime. I can see to kick a ball. I like the hot sun at the beach. When this dark isn't scary, it's just boring." "Boring, you say?" replied the owl, and she clearly had some opinions to express on this point. But just then, there was a fluttering and a squeaking around their heads. It took the child just a few seconds to figure out what it was, and he shrieked, "Ah, a bat!" And he started flailing his arms around to knock the creature away, shrieking the whole time. The shape backed away, and hovering just out of reach said, "Excuse me, that's just my way of saying hello." "Well, hello to you, Mr. Bat," said the owl. "This child was out here lost in the forest, and I'm helping him to find his way home. You're not hurt, are you?" "Well," said the bat, "I'll probably have a bruise on my backside, but I think I'll live." "But you're a bat," said the child, "a creature of darkness. Weren't you trying to drink my blood?" "No," said the bat, "but I've been eating lots of yummy insects who would have been biting you if I hadn't been around. Anyway, I couldn't help overhearing what you said about darkness being boring. If you want to come just a little bit out of your way, I can show you something really exciting." "My parents always told me not to go anywhere with strangers," said the child. "Al will vouch for me," said the bat. "We've known each other for years and years." Al agreed that Mr. Bat was indeed an upstanding citizen. So the group went off the path and traveled through the deepest forest for what seemed like just a few minutes, and they came out onto a dark beach. "Here we are," said the bat. The child gazed out at the beach, lit very gently by moonlight, and thought, "This is certainly beautiful, even in the dark, but I wouldn't call it exciting. Just then, there was movement in the sand, like a little bubble of sand rising up. Then there was another little bubble and another. It looked almost as if the beach in the area they were looking at was boiling. Then, out of one of those little bubbles of sand popped a rounded shape. "Looks like we got here at just the right time," said the bat. As they watched, more and more shadowy shapes came up out of the sand, and soon the child realized what he was seeing. Lots of baby turtles, hundreds climbing out of the sand. This was truly exciting. Once each turtle shape pulled itself out of the sand, it started crawling as fast as its legs could carry it toward the water. "When baby turtles hatch," said Al in a sort of teacherly voice, "they need to find their way to the water, and they almost always do this at nighttime because to find the water, they need the darkness everywhere to follow the moon and starlight reflecting off the water. Daytime sunlight is too bright and scattered everywhere." "Oh," said the child. As they turned to leave and head back towards the child's home, Al spoke again, as if thinking aloud to herself. "You know who else loves the darkness, besides all the nighttime plants and animals? The moon and the stars love the darkness. That's when they can really shine. Oh, they're there in the daytime as well, hidden behind a wall of light. But when that wall goes down with the sun, the stars and the moon reveal their beauty." After what seemed like a very short time, the child and the owl left the forest and walked down a street that the child recognized as his own. He was very happy and relieved, but also a little sad to say goodbye to the owl, to whom he gave a very gentle hug and a thank you. He went into his home and, being extremely tired, got ready for bed right away. Of course, his parents had no idea where he was. Before he went to bed, as a matter of habit, he bent down to turn on the nightlight that he always kept glowing through the night to keep the dark at bay. But before his fingers touched the switch on the nightlight, he smiled and pulled his hand away. He got into his bed, pulled up the covers, and let the comforting arms of darkness soothe him to sleep. So, who loves the dark? Sometimes. And now, are there any children to, no, we have, wait, I'm getting mixed up here, so hold on one moment. So, yep, it is time. For joys and sorrows. And the offering. You know, this is kind of backwards day, so today it's time for our offering.
First is the offering.
Yep.
So now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church and its work. Each week, we like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. And this week, the group is everyone who made things to buy for Christmas, the homespun holiday. Woo-hoo. 1/4 of our plate collection for the darkness season will go to our service partner, The Spot. The Spot provides free food, clothing, school supplies, and personal care items to students in the Canandaigua and Victor school districts. Their work ensures equitable and easy access to basic needs. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check in the basket or by one of the options on the screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept your offering.
Well, we have several joys today to share. There is a huge thanks to Jeff Grelton for arranging the fixing of the internet and the alarm systems, and probably a million other things. I know many of you carry several hats on your head, and Jeff's is probably one of the taller ones here, so that's a joy that, that your love abounds in so many ways. We have another joy. Yes. So we have another joy, great gratitude for a comfortable standard of living. And Jody Brown says, it's just a joy to be here in person. So for all of those joys, we give great thanks. And I get to do this part. We're going to drop a stone for these and all the joys and sorrows left in the silence of our hearts. Whatever is in your heart today, we are with you. And let's say that together. We are with you. And now, are there any children to head downstairs? I kind of think, are we? So all the children get to stay here today, right? All right. So I invite you now into a time of reflection, of meditation, of prayer. These words are from Laura Bogle. Creative spirit of life, God, whose energy is love. Summarize today, optimistic, closer to a new year, ready to jump ahead in the calendar, sure of someone or something new coming into our lives that will change everything. Summarize today, quiet, doubtful, tired, perhaps a bit or a lot of fear residing in our hearts. The longest night of the year is still ahead of us. Will we have enough to get us through until the light returns? Help us let the dark do its work on us. Help us to lay down the expectations that don't matter in the long run, the expectation to buy our salvation, the expectation to consume our joy, the expectation to be joyful without exception, the expectation to orchestrate perfect family time, the expectation that one person or party or position will save us. Let us simply settle here in the darkness of the year, be with what is real, and wonder at the miracle of now. If we can stay long enough, we might feel the light returning in ourselves and in one another. Help us let the dark do its work while we wait with expectation for what truly matters. Another season of growth and change on this earth and in our lives, transforming love, the force of life, flowing again through all. Help us to let the dark do its work on us. At this time of the year, in this time of growing darkness, communities around the world look to the miracle of light as a sign of rebirth and a source of hope. At the same time, it's important that we honor the dark, the uncertainty and change that we often fear. I invite you now to take part in this ritual that was created by a colleague of mine, the Reverend Karen G. Johnston. And this ritual helps us to honor the dark and prepare ourselves so that we are able to be open to receive all that the light brings. There are 4 candles here before us. After I finish speaking, I invite you to speak these words along with us. And it's pretty simple. There's not a screen up there, but what we'll be saying is, may they know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. So that's what our recitation will be. So the first candle, and Laura's going to light the candles for us. The first candle, and we'll start with the purple one. This first candle we light to remember those persons whom we have lost and loved. We pause to remember their name, their voice, their face, the memory that binds them to us in this season. You can say their name aloud, or you can keep it in the silence of your heart. But lift those names up in some way into the circle of company and care, giving thanks for their lives and ours. So if there's anyone that wants to speak it aloud, you can. May they know peace. May we know peace. May I know peace. The second candle we light is to redeem the pain of loss, the loss of relationships, the loss of jobs, with the security that they bring, the loss of health in ourselves or in our family members, the loss of joy and peace in our lives from the stresses which surround us, the loss and loneliness we experience when our loved ones do not honor the purpose and meanings of our lives. As we gather up the pain of the past, we bring with us an intention of release. Here's your invitation, if you like, to name them aloud or in the silence of your hearts and offer them into this circle of care. So if there's anything you want to lift up, you may do so at this time. And let us say together, may they know peace. May we know peace. May I know peace. The third candle we light for those who experience a loss of direction or purpose in their lives, their sense of connection to something greater than themselves outside of their own perception or grasp. So let's just hold a moment for anyone who is feeling lost in some way. And let us stay together. May they know peace. May we know peace. May I know peace. Now the fourth candle we light is a candle of hope and abiding love, available to us at all times, even when we cannot feel it, even in the seasons of darkest night. We invoke that which is greater than all of our understanding, called by many, many names: Spirit of life and love, God, mystery, sacred source, ever-renewing wellspring, mercy beyond mercy. And share this prayer aloud for all to take in and make their reality our reality. So let us say together, may they know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. And we'll let these candles be lit through the duration of the service, honoring both those things that we might consider resting in the dark and also making room to welcome the light. So, you know, at this time of year, all around the world, communities of many traditions look to the miracle of life as a kind of rebirth, a source of hope. Hindu pilgrims in Nepal light oil lamps and pray for a better afterlife for their deceased loved ones. In Mexico, igniting lights are part of a cleansing ceremony to rid them of negative energies. In so many ways, lights and fireworks are used to dispel darkness, to signify the victory of good over evil, to ask for forgiveness for past faults. At this time of year in this culture, we see Christmas lights twinkling everywhere. And I know how much joy that I get from having, we put up a Christmas tree every year, and one of my rituals is to turn all the lights but the lights on the tree off and just sit there and bask in that light, letting those Christmas lights twinkling, illuminating the room. With such a universal response to bringing light into the darkness, we cannot overlook the significance of such rituals. But as I have grown in my own awareness of the two common disparities between people born with light skin and those born with dark skin, I have become increasingly conscious of the tension that exists between the light and the dark, and the ways in which this tension has been framed far too often. Generally speaking, light has been portrayed as a symbol of life, happiness, prosperity, and in a wider sense of perfect being. As a symbol of life, light can also serve as a symbol of immortality. Darkness, on the other hand, is too often associated with chaos, with death, fear, struggle, and the underworld. In the Christian faith, the candles on the Advent wreath symbolize hope, love, joy, and peace. The white candle is placed in the middle of the wreath and lit on Christmas Eve. That candle is called the Christ candle and represents the life of Christ. The color white is for purity because Christ is considered a sinless, pure Savior. Yet, all the goodness that may be intended in these representations of light-filled images must not come at the expense of demonizing the dark. Where would we be without the fertile darkness that nurtures new life? As in the children's story shared earlier, what would our lives be like without the sweet rest that comes when light is dim? As I was preparing for this sermon, the UU World magazine, one that had arrived a while ago, I was looking through it, and I found an article that was entitled "A Theology of Darkness" by Kristen Harper. So I want to share a little bit of what she wrote. To begin the dismantling of our racist language, we first need a new theology of darkness, a new way to relate to the darkness, blackness, and brownness that surrounds us, and to the people whose skin is often reflected in our disempowering language. As a student of religion and race for many decades, Kristen said she has been concerned about the consistent equating of darkness and blackness with negative qualities such as sin and despair. She says our connection to the divine is a deeply personal driving force. Continuing to associate black and dark with evil or the absence of God has only contributed to fear, dehumanization, and violence toward black and brown people. A new relationship with blackness and darkness should include lifting up the creative possibilities within the dark and its empowering and nurturing qualities. We are taught to fear the dark too often, that monsters and demons come out of the dark. But those who hurt others under the guise of battling monsters do as much in the daylight as in the night. The light does not hide war, famine, abuse, greed, torture, or any other kind of violence. Light does not hide our sadness or depression, our loneliness or despair. Darkness may even be a salve to the intensity of the light. I love the idea of creating a new theology of darkness, one that will partner in balance with all of the qualities that have been attributed to the light. Indeed, we know that we need the dark to help bring the light into focus. There are always stars ablaze in the sky above, but their light is overcome by that of the sun. It is only with the onset of the darkness of night that we can delight and wish upon those stars. And I found in my own life, it's when I am most challenged, when I am in my darkest hours, that the light of my values, my faith, those things that I hold most dearly shine forth most evidently. I'm sure you're familiar with the notion that it's easy to be our best selves when the sun is shining, but it's during our times of struggle, what we may call our darkest times, that we gain the most insight into what we truly value. I think that we need our struggles to help us clarify what we hold to be most true, what we are most willing to fight for. I think that the message that was held in the song that we sang earlier by Leah Morris captured this tension really well. We must honor the dark and also be the light. What might our world look like if we found ways to individually and collectively honor our difficult days, the dark clouds of life, instead of seeking to banish them? Find ways to fully consider and listen to the insight our discomfort holds. Valerie Carr, who is an incredible activist, shared the following on November 9th, 2016, and I think that year might resonate in your mind as a significant time, right after the election that harbored a dark night of the soul for this country. And she said, "In our tears and agony, we hold our children close and confront the truth. The future is dark, but my faith dares me to ask, what if this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if our America is not dead, but a country still waiting to be born? What if the story of America is one long labor? Let us make an oath to fight for the soul of America, the land that has never yet been, and yet must be." Friends, during this time of the year, in this liminal space, this darkest time of the year, calling out for the return of the light, let us use with wisdom the gifts of the light and the dark as we recommit to the protection of everyone's right to their own radiant humanity. May all the light of this season be a source of joy, hope, and inspiration to you, and may it be firmly held within all the quiet and reflective nurturance that lives within the dark.
In a time full of war, be peace. In a time full of doubt, just believe. Yeah, there ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time full of war, be peace. In a world full of hate, be alive. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark. You were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be alive. When darkness descends, look for stars. When you need hands to hold, look for ours. Build fires from scratch, and the sparks will be past. When the darkness descends, look for stars. In a world that turns dark, be alive.
Our closing words today are a poem, A Blessing by Jan Richardson. I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding expanse to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden, what is lost, what is forgotten, or in peril or pain, that it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye, the hand, the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you, though it may seem long ages in coming or arrive in a shape you did not foresee. And so, may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. May we bless the darkness as we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. And I think Bill might have a little bit to tell us about our closing music.
Closing song is on the other side of the paper. It's called Where is the Light? And it has a chorus, and it has some extra parts that you can join in. But feel free to sing all of the words, especially if you know them. The chorus goes, where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. Please rise if you're willing and able, and we'll sing that chorus together. Here we go. Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. When it's late December, dark and cold,
Where is the light?
when old man here is bending low,
Where is the light?
when sun runs off bed too soon,
Where is the light?
and there's nothing but the sea.
Where is the light?
Can you tell me where is the light?
Where is the light?
Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. When it's dark each morning when I rise,
Where is the light?
and it's dark when my hands are crying,
Where is the light?
and it's dark when all where I go,
Where is the light?
and it's dark again when I get home.
Where is the light?
Can you tell me where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. It's in my skin and in my bones. It's in my heart and in my soul. The light of life so bright and golden like a summer's day. When the sun goes missing in the sky, and it's rising in my eyes, chasing all that winter gloom away. I'm burning like some kerosene,
Where is the light?
and I'm twinkling like a million leaves,
Where is the light?
and I'm dancing like a candle flame,
Where is the light?
and I'm flaming like a fly.
Where is the light?
Can you tell me where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, light is one more time. Here we go. Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, light's inside of me. We're singing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
That was fun. If you're joining us on Zoom, now is the time to turn your camera on if you'd like to wave goodbye. Please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we together again.